Welcome back to Critically Incorrect, your weekly gaming podcast. I'm your host, Online, joined today by a special guest, Justin Gaming, if you wanted to say hi.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. It's been a while, but I decided to return for this special episode.
Yeah, it's our 1 year anniversary. Technically, if the day this goes up, it was going to be like a day before our 1 year anniversary of starting the podcast, or at least the first episode going live. So, really cool and awesome to have Justin back, for this special occasion. We actually didn't really get him back for that. We're all going to be talking about Resident Evil 4 in VR here shortly, but, still really, really cool to see how that lined up. And of course, we're joined here by Charlie as usual. If you want to say hi.
Hello.
And yeah, looking forward to that. So, as I always start off the podcast with, I just want to quickly remind you if you have any thoughts, suggestions, topic suggestions, feedback on the podcast, anything of the sort, you can leave it, of course, in the comment section down below or click the link to make our way to our Discord server. But yeah, with that being said, I guess we'll start with Justin. I don't really have like a time
Sure.
frame that you have to like really talk about, but just say like things you've been playing recently, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Okay. So what have I been playing? Nothing crazy. I've just, went back to university, so I've just been playing like multiplayer games here and there. Um. So yeah, I've been playing, the usual Counter-Strike with friends. Some Fall Guys here and there when the new update came. I don't know if I was on when the update came out, but yeah, I played that for a while. Some Call of Duty here and there still. Um, what else? I'm trying to think. I've been playing this when Squid Game was popular. There's like this, crab game like that. It was on
Yeah, I
Steam.
did
It
see
was
that.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
it's
don't know
just
that.
this stupid multiplayer game that's like just a rip-off of Squid Game. But yeah, trying to think what else. Yes, played a bit of Kenna, even though I barely touched that to be honest. It was like I got into the first hour. That's pretty much it. Um, what else? Resident Evil 4 VR. We're gonna be talking about that. I basically borrowed my friend's Oculus to play that, and yeah, I'd honestly say that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy, as I said. Just playing multiplayer games here and there. But
Cool,
yeah.
cool. That's awesome. And then how about you, Charlie?
Yeah, so like Justin has been playing Resident Evil. I haven't played I think I've played probably like 20 minutes more than when we last spoke. I just haven't had that much time to play VR to be honest. And it's kind of the last thing I want to do when I get home from work, just because I'd rather just be sat down like at my desk rather than walking around and stuff. But the main thing I've played over the past couple of weeks was Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it came out just before. Don't think we've spoken since it came out. Um,
No.
but yeah, I went and played through all of that. I think it took me about 16, 17 hours to beat, so it's a pretty lengthy game. I really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it, but I didn't think it was going to be like anything crazy special. But honestly, it's like up there as a game of the year contender for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. So I don't know if you've played too much of it yet, Brandon.
I played
Um,
like less than 2 hours. I'm on chapter
okay.
3.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It's a lot longer than I thought. It's written really well. The gameplay leaves a little to be desired in like combat and stuff. It does get a little bit repetitive towards the end. But overall, I think like the narrative and stuff really carried that game. Like it's really strong. But I really enjoyed that. And then aside from that, it's mainly been sort of multiplayer stuff. The new season for Apex did come out this week, so I tried that out because it's got like a new map and stuff, which seems pretty cool. But I haven't had a ton of time to dive into it. Um, but that's kind of been it, really. I haven't played too much else. Just a bit of like unplugged on the quest. Just unlocked like the last few tracks on that, which has been pretty fun. And then yeah, just waiting on COD now. Like I'll be getting up early tomorrow to play it with some mates, so that should be pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it really.
Nice. In the last 2 weeks, I played more than usual. I was able to finally finish Sackboy, so that was cool. Sackboy is like a game I've always been like on the final world of for like the last, I don't know, half a year or so. So decided to go back to that and finish it up. It's a really good platformer. I actually think it plays better single player than co-op because every single time I played it in co-op, like the screen sharing would always be annoying and stuff like that. And I'd just always miss collectibles because of that. I'd be focused on other things. So it's nice to play a solo and finish that up. Had some really cool bonus levels at the end as well. That was really fun. Still trying to do that, like, I don't know if you ever finished it, Charlie, but it was that like speed run at the very end. That's like a 10-minute long
Yeah,
speed
I
run.
got the platinum, so I had to do that level.
Yeah, that one I'm debating whether I want to go and do that because I've gotten to like 3 minutes in, but I always die like 3 or 4 minutes in. I'm just questioning if it's worth it or if I should move on to like another game in my backlog. So we'll see what I do there. But yeah, I finally finished that game and it was pretty cool. Definitely recommend it. Kind of underrated. Fatal Frame 5 came out last week. I picked that up a bit and I've only played like 2 to 3 hours of that. That's pretty interesting. It's a cool take on like horror in terms of, I don't know, it's a very different kind of horror game than most horror games I've played in the past, and has really cool like gameplay systems with like capturing ghosts really quickly, and the way you fend off is pretty sick. So I want to play more of that here coming up. So yeah, that's been pretty cool as well. Besides that, yeah, I guess besides that, it's just the usual multiplayer games and of course Resident Evil 4 in VR. I guess I didn't really mention this, but yeah, I did end up buying a Quest 2. Pretty much I bought it just because, Resident Evil 4. I decided just to say, fuck it. If I buy a Quest 2 and they announce a Quest 3 next year, like, it's fine. I bought this for Resident Evil 4. And so far, it's been really worth it. I've loved playing Resident Evil 4 in VR. And yeah, we'll have some more Oculus news as well towards the end of the episode. But I guess this is a good way to segue into our thoughts on Resident Evil 4 VR. So I guess I'll start my thoughts since I'm talking as it is right now. So yeah, Resident Evil 4 VR. I'm 2.5 hours in, I'd say. Obviously, you play slower in VR compared to when you're like playing on a flat screen. So around like I'm like right in the cemetery / lake for anyone that has played Resident Evil 4 VR, Resident Evil 4 in general. So about to fight the late boss, which is gonna be fun. Yeah, man, it's interesting. Like I think the biggest thing that's impressive for me is just like how graphically good it looks. Like this feels like the reason I always loved PSVR and like I felt Quest was a trade-off is Quest has better tracking and obviously is better in most departments, but obviously because it lacked like the power, you couldn't really have like console-like games on the Quest, like for Resident Evil 4, Quest 2, this feels like the first like console quality VR game that I've been able to play wirelessly, and it's awesome to just have like the entirety of Resident Evil 4 in that little headset. Yeah, it's been crazy. I think it's a really good port. Like, yeah, like the environment, you can, obviously swing your knife as anyone that has played, any Resident Evil game. That's been really cool. Just the scale of it, like, the villagers being in your face is like overwhelming at times and stuff. It's nice to be able to run and gun. I questioned whether or not that would work in VR, but I think there's a trade-off between, obviously the intensity of like these villagers being in your face and the ability to be able to run and shoot. And of course in VR, you'd want to be able to run and shoot because that'd be very, prone to motion sickness if you had to stop and aim and move and continue. It'd be really clunky. So I think it works really well. I'm just surprised on like I just want more games like this. This feels like Alex again to me, where I'm playing like a game I want to play in general, not just because it's in VR. So having it in VR and stepping into the shoes of the main character in like a 20-hour video game is just the best. I just want more games like this, and yeah, I'll let one of you speak as well. So Charlie, if you want to give your thoughts on where you're at and what you think so far.
Yeah, so I'm not as far as you, Brandon. I want to say I'm trying to remember where I was actually up to be honest. I'm not too sure. I think I was just about to get to um I don't actually know. Crap, I've gone blank. But yeah, no. Overall, like my thoughts on the game. I think it plays really well in VR, like you said. I think they've translated it really well without sacrificing like what's the core gameplay of Resident Evil 4 is. Like running and gunning and stuff. They do some good things to make it so that you can run and gun, but at the same time, I think they do slow you down a bit. I know they at least do if you were to say like swing the knife, you can't be like fully moving. They like kind of stop you. So I think they also do that with the guns. So you can't, just be completely like strafing left and right while shooting. Obviously the game I found is a lot easier than it was on say like PS4 because aiming is so much easier with a controller because you can just get headshots all the time. You can also dual wield, which is super overpowered.
That's so fun. Yeah.
But it's really cool at the same time. But and I think visually it actually looks surprisingly good. I was going into it thinking it wouldn't look great. One, because it's an older game, and then two, because it's on Quest 2, right? Like it's not running on like a PC or something. It is basically a mobile phone. But I think it looks probably just as good as like the PS4 version, to be honest. Like they've done a really good job of kind of keeping the visuals just as good, even though you're so up close to everything. Like it looks surprisingly good. I know they have redone some of the models and stuff because obviously you're going to be closer, so things like your gun models and things are pretty high resolution anyway. But overall, like it seems pretty cool. I do need to play more. Like I can't really give final thoughts because there's so much of the game I haven't tried. But so far from what I have played, it's a really good port. And I hope we get more stuff like it. I know Oculus did announce some other stuff, but hopefully we're going to get plenty more of these kind of ports in the future.
Yeah. Real quick, Justin, before you give your thoughts, I don't know if any of you have done this, but I turned off the laser sights on the pistols, and I found that I don't know, one made it more immersive because you're less focused on getting headshots and you're more focused on just shooting in time. And as well as it just makes it more fun, in my opinion. I don't know if you've done that yet, but
Interesting.
I
I haven't
recommend
done
turning
that.
off the laser
Okay.
sight off the pistol, and yeah, it's made it more fun for me. And I feel like I'm still accurate even without the laser sight. Like I've been shooting those blue pendulums, and I've
Yeah.
still been like
Right.
pretty accurate with those without the laser sight. So try that out. Anyway, Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah. All right. So basically, before this, like I had never tried VR essentially. So
That's
this is like my
crazy.
first
That's one
real
hell of a
like
start.
virtual reality experience. The only other time I played any VR was like Beat Saber for like I don't know like 20 minutes. So that was like my only previous experience. Um, so yeah, going into it like Resident Evil 4 is you guys know one of my favorite games of all time. So I had to try it. So I essentially borrowed my one of my friends' Oculus and bought the game. And yeah, I mean, it's been really fun so far. I haven't honestly played that much. I'd say I'm less than an hour in, and so like I got past like that first big village fight. That's literally it. And the only reason why I haven't played more is because I get extreme like motion sickness from playing. It's like, yeah, I guess that's kind of goes in hand with the fact that I've never really played VR, so that might be kind of it, part of the reason why. Um, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It's cool. I like how um I just like how you can reach down for your gun at the side and then you have like your knife there as well. If you need to heal, you just reach over with your left hand, grab like the healing aid. And then yeah, the detail is like considering, it's basically a recreated version of such an old game. I feel like the detail when, the villagers coming right up to your face is pretty cool. Um yeah, as Charlie said, it's a lot easier, obviously, because you could just aim straight for heads, stun them, and then go up and kick them. Um, I wish they like I guess you know how the cutscenes are essentially like it's just playing like it looks like it's just playing like on a giant like movie screen basically whenever those are happening. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, like it is what it is. Like it's not terrible, but I just think it would have been even cooler if like they redid it in VR. That would have been pretty cool.
How would you like
Uh,
watch that though if you're like
Yeah, I
really
don't know. I
yeah?
don't know. That's just what I'm saying. Like, it would definitely take a lot of work to redo, but yeah, it's still cool. Um, I'm trying to think what else. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. As I said, I've only played less than an hour, which is unfortunate because I think it's so cool. It's such a cool experience that I haven't really gotten to do before. Um, But yeah, yeah, I gotta find a way to get past the motion sickness because like I really do want to play more. It's just like that thought of like getting sick again is kind of holding me back because every like 20 minutes or so, um, I get sick after like a big fight where I'm constantly like turning around if there's enemies all around me. I'm constantly doing like 180s and I get dizzy pretty easily, so
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
It's a long ass game too, so that's a bummer.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I was like, I'm only back in town for a week, so I'm like, I gotta beat it in 1 week, and it's almost end of the week, and I've only
Right.
gone through one
You got
hour.
20 hours
So
left.
I'm definitely not finishing it this week, especially at the pace I'm going. It's like, it's impossible.
I'm
Were
just looking forward
you
to going through it. What's
were
up?
you playing it with like teleport, or were you playing it with like just smooth walking?
What's teleport?
They
So
give you
you
options.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you can use teleport instead of just walking around. Because obviously, if
I
you
mean,
get
I'm not.
like motion sickness,
I'm
it
not
might
a
be
lot.
better if you
Yeah.
do teleport. Um, like it might not be as fun, right? But like you might be able to play it for longer, or even like turning. I don't know if you're using like smooth turning or snap, where it kind
They
of
have like
jumps the
tunneling as well
camera.
for your vision when you're turning.
Yeah,
I'd look into those
Bro, I don't even
options.
know. I was just using the default settings, really. I
Look
haven't
into
touched
the
anything
comfort
yet.
settings. Those will help. Like if it makes it so that you can play the game like without
Yeah.
getting as sick, then I'd definitely
All
look
right,
into
all right.
that
We'll talk about this after.
for sure. Any concluding thoughts before we move on?
Uh, that's about it. To be honest,
Yeah.
I'm just like I am enjoying it. I just yeah, as I said,
Do you
I want
guys?
to play more.
I guess we'll talk about this a bit later, but do you guys? I don't know. I feel like remakes would be like really cool in VR because like not to spoil something that I mean I guess we could say it, but like San Andreas got announced, for Quest 2 as well. Do you think
yeah.
that potentially like that's a cool road that they can go down on where they just do like remakes of these classic games, but like re-envision for virtual reality? I feel like that'd be really cool.
They could, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to go about it, right? Because those games at this point are so easy to run. I mean, like GTA San Andreas, like you can already play that on a mobile. So that kind of game is going to be a lot easier to port to VR than something, that's current gen and making it VR ready. Like it's just a lot less hassle, as long as they, are able to get it running on newer hardware, right? But I think
Yeah.
remakes are definitely the way to go if you want to port, those like AAA experiences over to VR.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, we move on to out this week. So, speaking of Quest 2, Blade and Sorcerer Nomad was also announced at the Oculus Connect. And yeah, that's out actually today, the day we're recording this. So, yeah, that's Blade and Sorcerer Nomad. I think it's definitely like getting reviewed pretty well. I mean, it's not really being reviewed by like main outlets, but definitely I've seen impressions of it. It seems pretty good. It still definitely is watered down just because it's very physics heavy, and obviously the Quest 2 isn't as powerful as things like PCs, right? So you're not going to get the same quality as PC VR, but definitely if you have a Quest 2, I'd look into that. It's one of the better games on Steam VR. Also out this week is Call of Duty Vanguard. I know Charlie's looking forward to playing this tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. Obviously, like I played the beta. I didn't really care for the beta, but COD is something I always buy every year. I mean, I did not play much of of Cold War at all, so it wouldn't be smart for me to buy it. But it's almost like a tradition to like play through it. I still need to play through the Cold War campaign, which is crazy.
Oh
I
damn.
don't know.
It's pretty short. That's like what, 4 hours?
Yeah, it's
Um,
not that long, yeah.
yeah, I need to do that.
But then you have to install like 100 gigs, so
Yeah, to do
I don't know
that.
about
So
that
that's
one.
not really enticing. Maybe I'll just skip it and play Vanguard. Yeah. At least it's only 6 GB. I saw that, so that's enticing. It's not going to take like 100 like Cold War. But I say that, before they do like their updates, right? So who knows? COD is always a game that gets bigger as it goes on, but at least it's not starting at like 100, so that's cool. Justin, I know you were in the Cold War last year. Are you planning on picking up Vanguard?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I don't know yet. I was thinking about it. I remember like I don't know, like 2 months ago, I was always like telling my friends, I'm like, which train are we hopping on this year? Like the Battlefield or Call of Duty?
mm,
Um, and like for a while, everyone was like, oh yeah, Battlefield looks cool, and then slowly and slowly, everyone's just like, yeah, do I really want to like play Battlefield? Because Call of Duty is usually the game they pick up every year. So we'll see. As of right now, I don't think I'm gonna pick it up at launch. Yeah, honestly like I don't know. We'll see. Like I could easily change my mind like tonight, and I'll end up getting it. But
That's me right now.
yeah, I honestly haven't seen like I really don't know much about the game, to be honest. I literally haven't watched
I
any
forgot
gameplay
it
of
came out
did you
tomorrow.
play
To
the
be
beta
honest.
or?
Nah, I haven't. I literally don't know
Oh,
anything
okay.
about Vanguard.
So I like Sledgehammer.
I
So
know
I've been saying I
know
was
it's like
always the
I know
person
it's
optimistic.
what's it called? It's what, World War One or what?
World War Two.
And that's World War II.
Two. Okay, yeah. So just some of my friends are saying like they weren't like super big fans of the weapons or whatever. So we'll see. If my friends end up getting it, I'll probably just get it too. So
COD games are always like polished. I gotta say that. Like people hate on it, but they're always, decent releases at launch. Like it's nothing like where they're usually broken and stuff. I usually have a good time with them at least. We'll see. I don't know. I gotta call my brother as well because my little brother always likes COD and I always buy it and he like plays it off my account. So I
Tell
might
your
just
brother
buy
to
it for
buy
that
it.
reason. Yeah, my brother's like 10 or something.
Yeah, no, you can afford it. What do you mean?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure next week all of us will somehow have Vanguard. I say all of us, Justin won't be here, but yeah, we'll see. Anyways, we'll move into some gaming news. For me personally, I was very happy to see that we got some Elden Ring gameplay this morning. They actually announced this prior, so I woke up knowing it was going to come out. But we got a good 20-minute segment of From Software goodness. Really, they just showed off the world of Elden Ring, like what you can expect. It was kind of like a perfect showcase because they kind of just went over like different elements of the game, whether going through the crafting menus, finding secret dungeons around the world, going through dungeons from different aspects, some of the different bosses that you're gonna see. They definitely showed how the open world is very different than past Soulsborne level design, and the fact that it's open. You can ideally it seems like based on that gameplay segment, you can kind of just go wherever you want. I think it's the evolution of the Soulsborne genre. Like I was watching that, and it just felt like, I hate to make this comparison, but it almost felt like, okay, I'm gonna use this word very loosely, but it's like almost a Breath of the Wild style Soulsborne game where you can kind of explore. Like it gives me that same sense of like freedom and exploration that I had when I was playing Breath of the Wild, where I was like exploring and not knowing where I was gonna find. Like there's that segment in the gameplay video where they're crouching through the forest and you see the different like big ass enemies, around the area, around the area, and I'm just like, that's gonna be very very fun. Like we always hit on open world games, but when it does it like that, that definitely is very exciting for me. I think the magic looks really cool in that game. Usually I'm not really a big fan of the magic in the Soulsborne genre, but the magic looks really, really cool. There's like a point where the AI, or online buddy they call in, uses like a dragon head to like cast like a fire spell. That looked really cool. And then there's like the arrows that you can fire from downwards, which I think has been in past games, but like the animation looked really cool in this one. I'm definitely down for this. They have announced the collector's editions as well, and like different editions. I'm not sure if I'm going to be picking up the collector's. Like the statue looks really cool, but I just hate physical releases now because I don't know, it clogs up my area so much. Like when I moved to uni, I only brought like 3 games with me, and that's because most of the games I own are digitally, and that's so nice to have like my area minimalistic and not full of games and stuff. So I will probably end up going like digital deluxe or something, but yeah, like I really can't wait to play this game. I was really looking forward to it, but now knowing how it's gonna play, it's definitely has been influenced by Sekiro a lot. I just can't wait for February. So yeah, Justin, did you watch
Didn't
the
it get
gameplay?
delayed? It's not.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
got delayed from January to February.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, all right. Okay.
Did you watch the gameplay this morning or no?
I looked at it briefly. It
Mm.
looks pretty cool, but seeing as I still haven't played Demon Souls, I assume you guys know know what's gonna happen with me when that game comes out. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if I get it when it comes out. It does look really cool though. Yeah. The gameplay looks really fun. Um, yeah, I don't have the biggest opinion on this just because I haven't played any of the other,
Mm-hmm.
Souls games, but um. As I keep saying, every time a new Souls game comes out, maybe this is the one that I get.
Oh my God, do not start with Elden Ring. I mean, maybe it's a good one to start. Who knows? But we'll see. Charlie, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I mean I was already interested in the game, right? But I wasn't like super excited. This gameplay got me a little bit more on the kind of hype train for the game. I think it looks like a great mix of both the Dark Souls. It looked very Dark Souls 3 actually. Mixed with a lot of the gameplay of like Sekiro, like all the stealth and obviously being able to jump whenever I think is a big deal. But like the combat looked really fun. Exploration sounded interesting with like the dungeons and stuff that they're gonna have around the map. Also having like mini bosses that are just kind of around the open world, not necessarily like the big ones behind like the fog walls or whatever, right? Like they were fighting like bigger monsters just in the world, which I think is interesting. But yeah, I'm super interested in it. The only thing that makes me unsure about it is when it's releasing. Like it's right in the delay season where everything got delayed to. So I'm like, will I pick this game up or not? Because there's like 3 or 4 other games coming out that week, right? Like there's just way too much. So who knows if I'll pick it up on day one? Because I feel like I'll just be playing too many other games.
If you're
Um,
playing Destiny, I swear to God.
Wait, what else is coming out right now?
I've already got the fucking expansion paid for, so I'll be playing Destiny. um, But yeah, I don't know. I might pick it up, but there's stuff like Horizon comes out a few days before, and then
Oh,
there's like Dying Light 2 is a few weeks before that. Sifu I think is the same week. Like there's so much coming out. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely interested in the game for sure. I think it looked really promising.
Nice, nice. Yeah, definitely. That's on the top of my list in February. I hope other games get delayed around it so I can just enjoy it without feeling bad that I'm missing out on everything else. But that's one of those games I'm gonna play at 9 p.m. whenever it unlocks. Like I'm going straight to that, looking around, exploring, playing the fuck out of that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, I guess we'll move on. Anyways, Charlie, I guess if you wanted to quickly mention this news story, I'm pretty sure it's only this just one detail, but if there's anything else
Yeah.
surrounding it, yeah.
Yeah, so alongside, like, we got Elden Ring today, as we were recording, we did also get news that Spider-Man is finally coming to Avengers after, like, being delayed with everything else, but God knows how many times. It's coming out on the 30th of November, alongside some other new stuff. They've got, like, an event for the Hawkeye, like, Disney Plus show, and, like, some other skins and stuff. They haven't really said too much. They haven't shown him. They haven't shown any gameplay. I was saying to Brandon before we started, I wouldn't be surprised if they do like one of those war table streams, right, where they show some footage and things off. All they kind of said about the Spider-Man thing is it will be a quest line of like challenges that you complete to unlock him. They basically said that the quest is going to revolve around like Peter Parker investigating AIM, who are the main bad guys in Avengers. And then he'll end up teaming up with the Avengers at some point. And there'll be something going on. Like there's gonna be some story between him, Miss Marvel, and like Black Widow seems to be like the main trio of characters in the story. I don't know if it's gonna be actual story missions because the way they word it seems like it's gonna be very much just some challenges like going to markers and doing stuff, and then it gives you the character. Obviously, this is only coming to PS4 and PS5, so it's not content that you can play on Xbox or PC. So whether they'll have put a ton of effort into like cutscenes and stuff, I don't know. I'm not expecting too much from it, but I'll definitely try it out. I've still got the game installed for this reason, to be honest. I was kind of just waiting for this because after this event, they haven't announced any new content. They said there's stuff coming next year, but I'm not like holding my breath for anything major, just because they haven't said anything. And I know Square Enix recently had like their investors call, and they seemed very negative about Avengers, and basically admitted that they shouldn't have given the project to Crystal Dynamics because they just weren't the right fit for a live service game. So we'll see what the plans are for Avengers, but based on how like well Guardians is doing, I don't really see a future for Avengers, to be honest. But we'll see. I'm hopeful this Spider-Man content's going to be cool, but I'm just glad it's finally coming out.
Do you think Guardians will like outsell Avengers?
For sure. I think it's already doing really well, right? Like I know in the UK it's been in the top of the charts the past couple of weeks, so yeah, I think it's going to do a lot better, mainly because it's just single player. The way they've marketed it is way better than they did Avengers. It's very clear that it's a single player campaign game, and that's what it is. Like, you buy it, you beat it, that's it. There's nothing else to it. I think Avengers was a bit all over the place with the way they marketed it. And there was so much, like, sour taste in, like, everyone's mouths when that game came out. Like there just wasn't much positivity around it when it came out, whereas Guardians, I haven't really seen anything negative, right? So yeah, I think it'll definitely do better than Avengers did. I know Avengers severely underperformed in Square's eyes anyway, so
Yeah. Cool. I guess we'll move on. Forza Horizon 5. Actually, I guess is that coming out tomorrow?
I think it's next week. I think it's Tuesday
Next
or
week.
something.
Okay. So that's next week. So two games that are coming out next week both got the review embargoes lifted up today, actually, and that's Forza Horizon 5 and SMT5. Forza Horizon 5 is getting like 10s and 9s across the board, just saying it's like one of the best driving games you can pick up. I've always been looking forward to this ever since we've been seeing it at E3, so I'll probably give it a chance on Game Pass. I say probably just because they also revealed the gigabyte size, and I think it's like over 100 gigabytes, so that's a tough pill to swallow, but it still looks really, really good, so I might just bite the bullet on that, so we'll see. And then SMT5's been getting like 8 and 9s across the board. It's been hilarious to see the reviews come out because I think like every single review of that game has come out and they always mention Persona 5. It's like a joke at this point. I think IGN literally gave a review and they say it's like Persona but without the heart, and it's like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? So it's just hilarious. So yeah, the community has been having a lot of fun with that. I'm really looking forward to that. I got to actually log into my Amazon account and change the delivery address to my current university address. And hopefully that won't cancel my pre-order and I'll be able to get it next week, but we'll see. Yeah, looking forward to playing that tomorrow or next week. Man, there's too many games coming out. Like I think we have the GTA trilogy also out next week. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to get down and play something. But yeah. And if you have any thoughts on what you've seen on the Forza Horizon 5 and SMT5 reviews, or should I move on?
I mean I saw the reviews for both, right? The SMT stuff I haven't really read too much, purely because I don't really know anything about SMT, so I'm not like that bothered about reading on it. I'll just wait to hear what you have to say about it, to be honest, Brandon. Like,
For sure.
I'll just see if you think it holds up to the other entries, right? I did see loads of people freaking about like people comparing it to Persona, but wasn't Persona like a spin-off of SMT? So
It
like,
is.
so surely they're allowed to make comparisons to it because they're gonna be.
They're allowed to
kinda...
make comparisons, but the SMT community doesn't like that because they're the original franchise and
Okay,
Persona's
so
the
people
spin-off.
just butt her. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Forza, like, I kind of expected it to review well. I don't think there's been a Horizon game that hasn't reviewed well. They seem to always be improving on it. I do want to give it a go, but it's like 100 gig on PC, and I don't know if I can be bothered to download it because I'm probably
Yeah.
only going to play it for a few hours, to be honest. I always like, I think 3 and 4, I both only played for like 4, maybe 5 hours and then put it down and just never went back. So we'll see. Maybe I'll give it a go, but I'm not like dying to play either of the games. So
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, in another news story, GTA 5 has now sold over 5 million copies since the last quarter, which brings it to a total lifetime sales of 155 million, which is crazy. I think I saw a tweet somewhere online that has now passed the PS2 sales, which is crazy that one single game has sold more than an entire console. Like if you think about every single PS2 owner having a copy of GTA 5, that's just wild. Yeah, what'd you guys think of that?
That
uh,
is crazy, man.
I think
Yeah.
like the
Well,
oh sorry Justin, keep going.
oh, okay, no, yeah, I was just gonna say like the fact that like I mean I get it. The game has been they've basically been it's come out on PS3, PS4, no PS5, and then it's been on PC, Xbox, like virtually everything over the past like what 9 years. So I get it. It's understandable. GTA is like it's popular amongst like all the young kids love GTA, right? But yeah, at the same time, like the fact that it's still getting 5 million copies over the last quarter, which is like that's an insane number to me because that's more than your average like new AAA game release. That's crazy that a game that's been out already like 9 years still getting 5 million copies
It
over the
amazes
last
me,
quarter.
yeah, in the last quarter it sold 5 million copies
Yeah,
because that's like, yeah, as you said, more than most new games get in like their
yeah,
lifetime sales, which is insane to think about. Like how many people are like just finding out about GTA 5? I mean, maybe they're rebuying the game on a new platform, but it's crazy. Like I don't think we fully understand how big GTA 5 is. Like we always clown on it for getting re-releases, but this is why. It's because it's a little like
and
a
people are
cash cow.
still making money. Yeah, might as
Yeah,
well.
that's true. What were we gonna say, Charlie?
I was gonna say, to be honest, like kind of what you guys touched on. Like I think the bigger number for me is the 5 million over the last quarter. Like it's insane that people are still buying it. Like you would have thought
Hmm.
at this point everyone owns it. I think it's insane that like people keep buying it, and like 5 million copies over the last quarter is more than some games get in their entire lifetime, right? Like that's
Yeah.
insane. Um, but yeah, I think like you said, people do forget how big it is. Like we like to complain about it, the online and stuff, and the reason why Rockstar has changed over recent years, but that's the reason why, right? Like it's a money cow. Like Take-Two never have to make another GTA if they really wanted to.
Hmm. That's true. But now they're definitely gonna do GTA 6
I mean, they
eventually.
will, yeah, but let's be real, it's probably going to be very different to what people want.
Yeah. You think they're gonna go online focus and shit like
Yeah,
that?
for
Well,
sure.
they
Yeah,
definitely better
I
not
doubt
sacrifice
like
the campaign.
most of the single player like writers and stuff, they've all left. So like there's not really anyone left at Rockstar that is on that team that
After
would
Red
have.
Dead Redemption 2, they left.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
That
like
sucks.
one of the, I think it was Dan Houser, right? Like one of the
Yeah, Dan
founders
Houser.
who writes like all the GTA games. He wrote both Red Dead 1 and 2. He left last year to open his own studio. So Like, yeah, if he's left, it probably means that they're shifting away from, what
That's
they
a
used to do,
shame.
which
That's really like
sucks.
that's
But
yeah. They're so good at their single player games. Like I think
yeah,
Rock. I was talking about this with my housemate the other day. I think Rockstar, for me personally, is probably the studio has like the best track record with releases for me. I think because like Valve has always done the same for me, but they always have those weird like falls where they do some weird shit with like a mobile or card game, and then Naughty Dog's been pretty consistent as well. But I think Rockstar's always on the top. So like to see them like stop doing so, that would hurt so much if they go the online direction. It makes sense, but like you can't imagine that that would not go over well for a lot of people online if they decide to only do online. That surely cannot happen. But as you said, the writers left, so who knows? But yeah, any concluding thoughts before we move on?
I think that's
All
about it
right,
from me.
cool. Anyways, a quick news story. Just an update from Blizzard is that Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 have now been delayed. Both of these games don't even have dates, so I think this is just like internally delayed or something. So yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a surprise considering everything going on with, Blizzard. I'm sure they have a lot on their plate besides these two games as well. So, yeah, lawsuit and everything and all that. It still amazes me, by the way, that we're getting an Overwatch 2 and the fact that, like, it's still not nearly out. Just because, like, everything we've heard about it makes it seem like it's not, like, really that ambitious. Seems like they're just doing, like, the co-op things and, like, adding a new hero, but, like, the multiplayer is essentially the same. So that's always been a weird thing for me. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on both of those?
Honestly, I'm not too surprised. I think during investor calls previously, they kind of said that they were aiming for sort of 2022, 2023.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yeah.
I think the delay is basically them just going, yeah, no, it's not going to meet that fiscal year. Makes sense. I didn't really expect either of them to. Like, I did see some people saying, oh, they announced these games way too early, but I think people forget like how Blizzard works. Like, they had not announced a new game in a long time. They kind of needed to just to convince people they were still making games. Plus, I think Diablo 3, they announced that like 4 years before it came out. So we've still got a ways to go before we reach like the point where it was announced too early, right? But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Diablo 4 especially. Um, Overwatch 2 is a weird one because I feel like you could probably release that in a few months and it would be fine. Like, I don't think they're doing a ton to that to really justify it being so far off from what I've seen anyway, but who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Any thoughts, Justin, or should we move on?
Not too much. I just feel like, yeah, definitely not for Diablo 4. Overwatch 2, I feel like have been talking about. I feel like that game's been talked about for a while now, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is, you know. Like if it needs a delay, that's perfectly fine. I'm not looking crazy forward to it or anything. Didn't it say, I was reading something that said like the stock Blizzard stock like dropped big time or something after they
Oh,
announced that.
I wouldn't be
did they know?
surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised because that's not good news. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. They've also just lost stock for other reasons as well, like the lawsuit, I'm sure. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, we'll move on to Returnal. So this is actually a news story from last week. Returnal finally got a new patch that allows you to suspend your run, which has been kind of controversial in the gaming community. But it also adds photo mode. So yeah, those are the two big things. In terms of suspending your run, there are some like parentheses around that. So like you have to be outside of combat. You can't be like in a boss room or like in one of those house segments. So you really gotta be like in a dead zone. Essentially, this is just for people that obviously don't have enough time to play a game for like hours, in one sitting, which I think is honestly perfectly fine. I know there's a lot of people gatekeeping this that have already beaten Returnal. They're like, oh, if you beat it now, it's like you didn't really fully beat it. I'm just like, I don't know. Like for me, I always like the thing that like Xbox has been doing where you can like resume your game at any time, and I really wish we had that just for Returnal alone because I would like to be able to like. There's been plenty of times where I've been playing a Returnal run, and someone asked me to play something online, and I either have to make a decision to end my run depending on how far I am, or just tell them I'll play with them whenever I die. So, like, just that shouldn't be the case in my opinion. Like if I'm in a part of the game where I'm outside of combat, I feel like I should totally be fine to just save and resume afterwards, especially since it like deletes your save once you resume. I know there is like a workaround people have been figuring out, but like people are always going to try to, glitch through the game. And if they want to do that, they want to do that. But yeah, what did you guys think about this, patch? Are you in support of it or do you think it's stupid? What do you think?
think it makes sense. I'm glad they're doing it because there are people that just can't play games for long periods of time, right? Like they just want to hop in temporarily. And it's no different to just pausing a game and just coming back later, right? Like it doesn't hurt. It's not like you're pausing in a completely weird spot and like trying to break the game or something. It's just pausing a run midway through. There's nothing weird about it. Like I don't get why people would complain about it. Honestly, I still haven't beaten Returnal. This is probably giving me more reason to go back because I could play a bit before work or after work and pause. I don't have to, worry about sitting there for a few hours to play. So, yeah, I'm glad they're finally doing it. It's just a shame it took a while to actually
I
happen.
was yeah, I was about to say that took like a while since launch. I was gonna say for sure. Justin, how far did you make it into Returnal? And yeah.
Bruh, this man's acting like I got Returnal.
Wait, did you play Returnal? No, you didn't play Returnal. I thought you
Nah,
streamed it for some reason, but I must be thinking of
I was
Charlie.
watching your stream,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Nah, I was just gonna say, like, I think you guys said it pretty well. Like, like people that work full-time jobs, it's like can't always play like multiple hours at a time. So like at the end of the day, like I feel like this should have been there at the beginning. And like for all those people that are just complaining like that now, like basically if you're playing it and like basically like saving after a certain point, you're not getting like the proper experience like they did. Like, bro, who cares, man? Like honestly, like if you did it the like the way before the patch where you just like played everything without saving, like okay, that's fine, good for you. But it doesn't really take anything away from the other people. So
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
end of the day, it doesn't matter.
And it's like there's no like difference really. It's like
Yeah,
the
it's
one
whatever.
difference is like you did it. Like it. The thing that's funny is like Returnal even like saves your run like midway through. Like I could see people getting mad if it's like you got to go from the very beginning to the very end. But there's like clear parts of the story where like you save and you get a checkpoint at a certain biome. So it's almost just like just allowing you to pause midway through like a biome or something. It's like already something that's already kind of in the game as well. So yeah, that's stupid. I'm just glad it's here finally. And yeah, I gotta go back. I got really close to the end. I think I got to like the last world or something, and then I was on stream too, and then my game crashed, and I lost that progress. I made like two biome progress on that
Yeah, that's a
run.
thing, right? Like if
Yeah,
your game crashed, like
like I
then
was
you have
on
to go
world
all the way
6.
back,
Yeah, yeah.
like that's wild. Like, dude, I'd be so upset.
Well, I didn't have to go all the way back because it saves progress based on like where you're at in the story and stuff. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I was pissed. I definitely gotta go back at some point. Went back for Sackboy. Now I guess I'll go back for Returnal someday. We'll see. But yeah, I guess we'll move on. Anyways, we got a cool Jason Schreier news story that he broke earlier this week. I think actually maybe just yesterday about Take Two and apparently how they canceled the unannounced game from Hangar 13 that cost $53 million. I think they said it was a new IP, right, Charlie? It wasn't Mafia 4 or something.
Yeah, it was meant to be a new IP of some kind that was. I think Jason Schreier mentioned that it was like some multiplayer, like superhero PvP game or something. That
Huh.
had been in like various stages of development for like 4 years or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did you like decide to like can that now? Like, did they not prototype it or something? I don't know. That's
I
interesting.
imagine it's gone through so many like varieties of pre-production over the years, and it's just added up over time. And I think by the sounds of it, it's some mismanagement going on in the studio and not a clear kind of vision for the project, which led to the
Yeah.
plug being pulled. Although thankfully, I think today, Hangar 13 apparently said to their staff that there isn't going to be any layoffs or anything because of it, which is
Oh,
good
that's
to
good.
see. Because normally that's a big issue when a project like this gets cancelled. So
Take Two has that GTA Online money coming in, so just
yeah,
fork it over
true.
to the Hangar 13 dev side, please. That'd be really shitty if they did that. So that's awesome to see. And yeah, any thoughts, Justin, before we move on?
No, not really. I think you move on.
For sure, for sure. Anyways, speaking of Take Two, a small news story that kind of went under the radar this week. I think this dropped with the Hangar 13 news story. And that's the fact that Midnight Suns is getting delayed from March to the second half of 2022. This one's a bummer for me because I actually thought this was like a good time frame for it. Granted, like if those February games get delayed to March slash April, maybe it would have been crowded, but second half hurts now. That for sure does hurt. But obviously, if it needs it, right? I always thought this game was like surprising to be announced in August and coming out in March so soon. So, I guess that's fine for me. But delays are always the same thing, right? It needs it, so it's always a good thing. So yeah, any thoughts on that, Charlie?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it, but I think it makes sense. I want to say it's a variety of things, like one of them being it was releasing shortly after all the big hits, right? So I imagine they wanted to space it out a little bit more. Two, I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking on feedback from a lot of people that were pretty negative on the game, because obviously it was card based and stuff, and people didn't like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're maybe making a few changes and stuff to how that stuff works. And then I know they've said that they want to add in a lot more cutscenes and things. That was kind of their big thing, is they want to add more story beats and things. So clearly they just want more content in the game, and they wouldn't have been able to do that in the time frame they originally had. So as long as it gives us a good game in the end, I'm looking forward to it. I love XCOM, so I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, same here all around. And yeah. Another quick news story is a rumor that has to do with the Mario movie. Apparently, Donkey Kong movie is also in development with Seth Rogen. So obviously, we already know that he's playing Donkey Kong in that Mario movie. So this would make sense. Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely think if there was one other character to get a movie, it would be Donkey Kong, just because he's kind of iconic. As well as Seth Rogen is also just really iconic, right? So I think that's a good fit. I really want to see footage of these movies to see like what kind of tone they're going for, because like everything with the casting makes it seem like it's a very like almost like a parody, almost like where it's like it has to be a joke. There's no way they're gonna take this seriously. But hey, who knows? Yeah. Any thoughts on this, Charlie?
Oh, I just can't picture Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, man. I just, just don't. I see Donkey Kong and I don't hear Seth Rogen.
I
And when
actually
I,
think Seth Rogen fits more than like Chris Pratt as Mario,
I
but
don't
like
know.
that's not surprising.
I think it's just because he fits that just like stoner vibe, and I don't see
Yeah.
Donkey Kong as being a massive stoner, so it just doesn't fit in my head, right? But I mean, to be honest, he was the thing I was most looking forward to about the film, because I feel like it's gonna be really dumb. So if he gets his own film, kind of makes sense. I think there's meant to be like Cranky Kong and Diddy Kong are also in this Mario film, so clearly they want to set that stuff up. Um, but hey, if it ends up being really dumb fun, I'm all for it. Like, sure, whatever. Like, it's probably going to be really silly, but I want to see how it turns out.
What about you, Charlie? I mean, Justin.
Okay, wait. So this is like live action, right? Like it's actual.
No,
No,
Or it's animated.
no.
It's animated, right?
Nah,
It's animated.
That would be
Bro.
even better.
Oh, cause I'm like, dude, I'm trying to think. I'm like, what the hell, like. Okay, so what? It's animated like the Sonic movie, or like would
Yeah,
that
well,
be
it's
something
being
Yeah.
done by the guys who did like Minions and stuff, so it'll probably look similar to that kind of art style.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I assume it's probably gonna be like kind of like a comedy, no? I don't know. Seth
Yeah,
Rogen
you'd
like
hope.
usually only does like hilarious movies, and he's always like a clown, bro. Um, I don't know. That I'd have to see something first. I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind of funny.
Now I have the thought of Seth Rogen climbing trees in my head.
Dude, I don't know why I was thinking like they have Seth Rogen dress up in a costume or some shit. Like, I don't know.
Oh my god, it's got better
I'm
and
like,
better.
no way. Or like Chris Pratt, just like they give him like a thick mustache.
Now
for
Chris
Mario.
Pratt's just jumping on Goombas in live action. Oh my god. Yeah,
That's
that's
wild.
brilliant. Yeah, fair enough though. Yeah, I definitely want to see footage of this to see what they're kind of going for. Hopefully we'll get that sometime soon. Anyways, a new story that I'm sure Justin and I mean all of us are going to be really excited to talk about is the fact that Amy Hennig is working on a new game that's going to be Marvel related with Skydance Entertainment. So the description of this game is like it's an ambitious single player game, kind of like right up Amy Hennig's past games, right, with the Uncharted game and obviously what she was trying to do with that Star Wars project as well. So yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind is hopefully this comes to fruition, because I know Amy Hennig's like last decade almost has been like canceled game after canceled game, right? Like I think her last release has been Uncharted 3, right?
Uncharted 3.
That's just fucking insane.
That's
So
10 years
hopefully
ago.
this, yeah, that's crazy. So hopefully that comes, good to her. I know some people are like in the air about whether or not they like the fact that it's Marvel. I definitely am kind of hesitant on the fact that it's Marvel just because we're getting so much Marvel, right? But the fact that it's Amy Hennig obviously makes me really excited because now I'm like kind of picturing this like Guardians of the Galaxy where we're gonna get like another Marvel IP but with a really cool like single player adventure game, and I'm totally down for that. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what IP. Do you guys have any ideas of what IPs it could be or what
Oh
you'd want
man.
them to see or
Uh,
tackle?
Nothing in particular that I think it's gonna be, but in terms of stuff that I'd want, maybe something like maybe like Daredevil or something. I feel like would be pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Daredevil, Punisher,
I feel
something
like Captain America would
something.
work for like single player action adventures as well. Just trying to think of like what
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
should be good for. I don't know. Who knows? Because wasn't she even trying to make that Star Wars, Visceral Games project? Like, I think they mentioned at one point like it would be kind of playing like Uncharted where you'd be like climbing and shit. I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? What about you, Charlie? You're the biggest Marvel fan here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about it, right? Like, we're all excited about anything Amy Hennig is gonna do, but I love
Yeah.
Marvel as well. I know Janina Gavankar said that she's in the game. She said that she can
Oh
finally
yeah,
talk
right.
about it. There were people replying that, hey, she'd be a really cool fit for Elektra, so people are thinking maybe it's a Daredevil game, which I think would be awesome, because I love
Mm.
Daredevil. There were rumors sometime last year about a Daredevil game because I think Troy Baker was saying that he'd love to
Oh
do it,
yeah.
and then Bill Roseman responded with like eyes, like something was in the works, right? We never heard
I swear to
anything.
God, if Troy Baker's another lead in
Um,
another game.
but yeah, I mean, like, I think Daredevil would be a really good fit for like a single player game. He's very acrobatic, so that would work, for like parkour and climbing and stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm really interested to see how this turns out. I want to say we see it sometime relatively soon, like early next year or something, because this has been in development since like late 2019. I think was when they started working on the project. They did say in the blog post like the partnership started a few years ago, like pretty relatively soon after the
Oh
studio was
really?
formed.
I did not
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So they've
Bro,
been working
I
on it
thought we
for
were
a
gonna see this for
while.
a long time.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought initially, but they said that they formed the partnership pretty early on. They approached Amy and Skydance, so yeah, I'm super excited to see what it is. I know some people are getting tired of the Marvel thing, right? But um, like I think if it's done right, like Guardians kind of showed me that I'm not tired of seeing like new iterations of these characters. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it is.
Nice, nice. Charlie, you can actually introduce this next story just because I haven't heard what's happening here.
Yeah, so basically, id Software, who are obviously the main guys behind like Doom and stuff, they put up a load of job listings recently, basically hiring for a long running iconic FPS franchise, which a lot of people are taking to be that they're maybe working on a Quake reboot. There have been rumors for a while that that's kind of what they want to do next, right? Like they've done two Doom games that were really successful. They showed that they can bring back a really popular franchise and kind of reinvent it, and Quake hasn't had a new entry in a long time. It's very similar to Doom, but it's more fantasy based and kind of medieval looking and that kind of thing. Um, and I know the like main director, I'm forgetting his name now, on Doom and Doom Eternal. He's basically said that he would be interested in revisiting Quake if they had like ideas for it and stuff. So it seems like that's going to be what they're working on next rather than a new Doom game, which I think will still happen eventually, but like the DLC for Eternal kind of teased they would do something, but there was no kind of like we need to go straight into a sequel right now. Like they could do it in a few years' time. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it is because it's been on like a winning streak with games and stuff for me the past few years. So whatever they do, I'm interested. But I'd love to see a new Quake game because I remember playing like Quake 1 and 2 as a kid and really enjoying those games, especially for multiplayer. Like they were the arena shooter for esports for a long time. So yeah,
Yeah,
super interested to see where this goes.
that'd be really cool. I imagine you have no thoughts, Justin, so I guess I'll move on. But yeah, that'd definitely be cool. I'd like to see that before like a Doom 3 or, before another Doom entry. So that'd be really cool. Anyways, I guess our big news story has to do with Facebook and Oculus and all that stuff, which I guess makes sense. Yeah, Facebook changed their name to Meta, which I'm sure everyone here probably has heard about in some capacity. Oculus is also going to be taking on that name, so instead of like the Oculus Quest 2, I guess we'll call it the Meta Quest 2. Although that's going to be a big change for me, so I definitely won't be calling the Meta Quest 2 anytime soon. Alongside this, they also announced some cool stuff. Like I know there was like the higher end VR headset they announced. That's more for business use. It looked like, which was like Project Cambridge or something like that. So that looks pretty interesting. Obviously, Facebook is just trying to go into the direction of like the metaverse. That's why they acquired Oculus. That's why they're big on Quest and all that stuff. Alongside this, we kind of talked about this earlier. San Andreas VR was announced for Quest 2. I think this is also like another Quest 2 exclusive like Resident Evil 4 was. So that's cool to see. Yeah, no idea what that's going to look like. It's really hard for me to imagine that game playing in VR, but I'm definitely down for it, especially if it's in the same, quality / caliber that Resident Evil 4 just got treated to. So definitely think that's cool. Besides that, nothing else really was announced here. I'm not sure what people are expecting. I've kind of been out of the VR loop, so I don't know if people are expecting this to be like another huge Oculus event where we get a bunch of gaming release dates and announcements. I know there was like another smaller news story where, what was that team, Vertigo Games, that got like a collaboration with Oculus or Facebook, I guess
on,
now.
Like 5 more games, and also some of those are going to be IPs from Deep Silver, so it could be stuff like Metro and Saints Row and things.
That's awesome. Yeah, so definitely some very exciting news stories. I know on Reddit as well, like one of the leads of Oculus, like content or something like that, they said that more AAA, exclusives are on the way or something like that. So, the caliber that we, love to see with like Resident Evil 4 and all that stuff. So hopefully they have some cool announcements to come in the future. I think VR is in a really exciting spot just because obviously, with this announcement, with, San Andreas coming to Quest 2, Resident Evil 4 just coming out for Quest 2. And then Sony's, I feel like, going to be opening up very soon about PSVR 2. They kind of have to if the headset's going to be out like a year from now. So that's going to be really cool. No idea if Valve's working on anything. I know we've always been talking about that, Charlie, whether or not they're doing like a wireless or something with the Index. But yeah, I feel like VR is in a really cool spot. So yeah, do you guys want to talk about anything that was announced here that your overall thoughts on where Oculus and Facebook are going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was kind of weird to see like Facebook changing their entire name as a company, right? To Meta. Personally, I don't like the name. I think it's kind of cringy. The whole metaverse thing, I think, is a very bold statement to make from like Zuckerberg and stuff. Like, I don't see it coming into fruition for a very, very long time. And I don't think that they'll be the company to do it, honestly. Because I just think there's too much bad press surrounding their company that a name change can't really fix. But either way, the biggest thing for me that I don't like is that they're changing the name of Oculus, right? They said that they weren't going to be changing branding for stuff like Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp. Like they're going to keep their names. But after the show, one of the lead people from Oculus said that starting next year, they will be changing the name from Oculus by Facebook to Meta. So you'll have the Meta Quest 2 and the Meta Quest app and stuff, like, which I don't like. I don't think the name works. I also think Oculus is too connected to VR as a brand.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's like the Apple of VR, right? Like most people know what Oculus is. Because it's been around since the beginning, and I think changing that name is a big mistake. So I do hope they revert that decision, because out of all the products they have, I think Oculus should always be called that. I don't think it works to change that name. So we'll see. I was a little bit disappointed by the event, to be honest. They kind of the games were not there. Like it was such a small part, and the bit that was there was super like cringy. I don't know if you watched any of it. But like,
I have not. Yeah.
I mean, Mark Zuckerberg's like uncomfortable to watch at times anyway. But he's like talking in this virtual space to like the head of Oculus Gaming, and they're like meant to be in the same room, but they're not actually in the same physical room, and it's just kind of like awkward and weird. And they just didn't have that many announcements, right? Like they were like, oh, we've got this big thing coming to Beat Saber, but we're just going to show off this 5-second clip of a custom saber. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know what that means, but sure. And I think the biggest announcement was like the San Andreas VR, but they didn't have anything to show or like any idea when it's coming out. Since then, we do know that it is being developed by the guys who did like the LA Noire VR game.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting because I think we spoke about it on here. I can't remember if we did or not, but they posted like job listings
I think we did a
like
while
end of
ago.
last year, beginning of this year, saying they were working on more Rockstar VR projects, and nobody kind of put it together what it is. But they've said now that it is this San Andreas VR game, as well as they are working on other projects as well. So they seem to have increased in size because I think they were only like a 10-person team or something in Australia. So they've increased quite a bit for this project. But it's cool to see that they're still working with Rockstar and things. I imagine
Okay.
Oculus is pretty like in depth on the development as well, like they were with Resi. So, but if they're working on even more stuff like that, then that would be really cool.
I found a news story just now. Actually, that's kind of surprising. I was like on the VR space, and apparently Facebook, like in 2018 or something like that, almost like they were like eyeing Insomniac Games as like an acquisition,
Yeah.
because like obviously they've been talking about wanting to get like a bunch of acquisitions and like the metaverse is theirs to lose and all that shit. And I think Ruben, which was one of the previous leads at Naughty Dog that now works, in VR heavily. I think he works at Facebook now. I could be very wrong on that, but I think he's still in like the Oculus space. He named potential targets as like Insomniac Games and Gearbox Software, but then they ended up going for Ready at Dawn, which he also ended up recommending. So that would have been a very, really weird reality if Insomniac got acquired by Facebook. So that's interesting. But yeah, just another VR story I wanted to add there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin, what are your thoughts on everything regarding Facebook?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing was like I mean I didn't watch the event, so I didn't even know it was coming up. But like I just like saw it pop up on the timeline. It seemed like so out of the blue, just changing name to Meta out of nowhere. Yeah, I think like as Charlie said, it's kind of like essentially they want kind of like a clean slate, changing the company name. But like changing Oculus as well, like as you guys mentioned before, like Oculus is just like I feel like it's a term that it's so widespread, everybody knows.
Yeah.
The fact that they're changing that as well just does not seem like a good idea. Um, Other than that, yeah, I didn't watch the event. The San Andreas thing seems cool. Um, I don't know if I'll end up. Yeah, see, I don't know if I'll end up getting a VR for like an Oculus. We'll
I
see.
would
We'll see.
recommend getting the PSVR too. I mean, it depends obviously on the lineup they have, but if they get
Right.
things like Alex on there and a lot of the good PC VR games right there, I think that's a really good trade-off between having like one cable and having console like VR. Because the Quest 2 is really nice, especially for like Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that. But I feel like
Yeah.
Sony will definitely, I don't know, top them eventually. I don't know. It depends on how big they're investing on like Quest 2 specific exclusives. If they keep going forward, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I definitely really want to see what Sony's doing next year. I'd definitely wait if you're planning on picking up VR until Sony starts talking about their plans on that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll definitely hold off for now.
yeah,
See
you
what's
definitely got
happening.
good options though, which is nice. So yeah. Anyways, I guess that wraps it up for this week's episode. It's nice to have you back on, Justin, and talk about all these things and a lot of good
Yeah.
gaming news stories to talk about. So yeah, of course, I want to thank you all for watching, and if you're still here, and we'll see you next week for episode 47. Talk to you then.
See you later.
So, yeah.